Yo, what's good, Laker Nation? Listen, I need you to sit down for this one. Not because I'm excited, not because something amazing happened, but because what I'm about to tell you might be the most emotional, gut-wrenching, historically significant interview I have ever witnessed in all my years of covering basketball. I was watching First Take this morning, the morning of Game 4, the morning of what could be the Los Angeles Lakers' last game of the 2026 season, and LeBron James sat down with Stephen A. Smith and did something I have never ever seen him do. He didn't fight back, he didn't argue, he didn't point fingers. LeBron James, the king, sat on that set and accepted responsibility for everything. He apologized to the fans, he questioned his own future. He admitted that the team as currently constructed is not good enough. And then, in the most devastating moment of the entire interview, he said something about his legacy and his willingness to walk away that had Stephen A. Smith, a man who has never been speechless, sitting in stunned silence with tears forming in his eyes. This was not a basketball interview. This was a man bearing his soul on national television. And I need to share every single word with you because Laker Nation deserves to hear what the King said on what might be his last morning as a Los Angeles Laker. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up everyone? Real quick before we get into everything, that like button is literally what determines if this reaches hundreds or thousands of fans. Takes 1 second but makes a huge impact on the channel's growth. Just smash that like button right now. It's the easiest thing you can do, but honestly the biggest way to support this content. Every single like pushes this further, so hit it now. Here's the context. The Lakers are down 3-0 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 3 on Saturday night was a 131-108 massacre at Crypto.com Arena, their own building, in front of their own fans. And the worst part, the Lakers actually LED 59-57 at halftime. They were right there. LeBron hit a three-pointer to tie the game coming out of the break. For a brief, beautiful, cruel moment, it felt like the Lakers were about to make their stand. But then the second half happened. AJ Mitchell, a second-year guard starting in place of injured Jalen Williams, had career playoff highs of 24 points and 10 assists. He eviscerated the Lakers' defense in the fourth quarter when LA ran out of gas. SGA added 23 and 9 assists with his usual cold-blooded efficiency. The Thunder went on run after run after run in the second half while the Lakers turned the ball over and collapsed defensively. LeBron finished with 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. Rui Hachimura was actually brilliant with 21 points. Luke Kennard had 18 off the bench. Reeves had 17 and 9 assists, but none of it mattered. The Thunder are now 7-0 in the 2026 playoffs. They're 7-0 against the Lakers this season, including the regular season, and they won the 3 games in this series by a combined 59 points. They are the 6th defending champion to start a postseason 7-0. They are a machine, and the Lakers are a team waiting for the final buzzer. So LeBron sat down on First Take, and from the moment he appeared on camera, you could see that something was different. He wasn't wearing his usual tailored suit or designer outfit. He was in a simple black Lakers hoodie, the hood down, his eyes tired, his face drawn. He looked like a man who hadn't slept, who had been up all night processing something bigger than basketball. Stephen A. started with a surprisingly gentle question. He asked LeBron how he was feeling heading into what could be an elimination game. And LeBron did something I've never seen him do on live television. He paused. Not a dramatic pause for effect, a real pause, like he was gathering the strength to say what he was about to say, and when he spoke, his voice was low, measured, almost fragile. Stephen A., I heard you. I heard everything you said after Game 3, and it hurts because a lot of it is true. The studio went dead silent. Stephen A.'s jaw dropped slightly, because in 23 years of covering LeBron James, no one has ever heard him validate a critic's words. Ever. LeBron James does not concede. LeBron James does not admit that the media might be right, until today. What we've presented in the last 3 games has been unacceptable, LeBron continued. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to make excuses about Luka being out, about the officiating, about anything. The Oklahoma City Thunder are better than us right now. They have the best player in the world in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They have the deepest roster in the league. They have a second-year guard in AJ Mitchell who just put up 24 and 10 on us in a close-out level game, and we have been outclassed in every phase of basketball. Offense, defense, coaching adjustments, bench production, depth, everything. Stephen A., visibly stunned by LeBron's candor, asked him what went wrong. "Where do I start?" LeBron said with a bitter laugh. "We're playing without Luka Doncic, the scoring champion, who averaged 33.5 points per game this season. He hasn't played since April 2nd. That's 14 straight games without our best player. And I'm going to be honest about something that nobody in our organization wants to say out loud. This roster was built to win with Luka. The entire construction of this team, the role players, the defensive specialists, the bench pieces, everything was designed with the assumption that Luka Doncic would be on the court creating shots for himself and others. Without him, we're asking a 41-year-old LeBron James to be the primary creator against the best defensive team in the NBA. And I can't do it alone. Not anymore. I'm 41 years old. My body is telling me things that it never told me before. I had 19 points in Game 3. 19. There was a time when I could carry a team with 40. That time is gone. I had to stop the playback. Because hearing LeBron James publicly acknowledge that he can no longer be the dominant force he once was is one of the most jarring things I've ever experienced as a sports fan. This is a man who scored 27 on 12 of 17 in Game 1, who had 23 and 6 assists in Game 2, who has been the greatest basketball player to ever live for 2 decades, and he's sitting on television telling the world that his body is betraying him. "Let me talk about my teammates," LeBron said, and his voice got heavier. "Because I love these guys, every single one of them, and that's why this is so hard to say." He paused again. Austin Reeves is playing hurt. The oblique injury from April is still bothering him. He went from 31 points in Game 2 to 17 in Game 3, and you could see him grimacing on certain movements. AR is giving us everything he has, but everything he has right now is 70% of what he's capable of. And 70% of Austin Reeves against a fully healthy Thunder team is not enough. Marcus Smart came here to bring defensive identity, and Marcus has tried. He's given effort, he's communicated, he's been physical, but Marcus is also 32 years old, and the speed of the Thunder's offense, the way they move the ball, the way AJ Mitchell and SGA create angles, it's too fast. Our defensive scheme can't keep up. We're switching everything because we don't have the personnel to fight through screens, and when you switch everything against the Thunder, they find the mismatch every single time. Smart had 10 points in Game 3, but the defensive impact wasn't there. And that's not Marcus's fault. It's a roster problem. And DeAndre Ayton, LeBron said, and his voice dropped even lower. DeAndre is a talented player. But I'm going to say something that might get me in trouble. DeAndre doesn't play with the desperation that this moment requires. He had 10 points and 6 rebounds in Game 3, 10 and 6, in a game where we needed him to dominate the paint. Chet Holmgren isn't even the one killing us anymore. It's the guards. Mitchell had 24, SGA had 23. And our interior defense, which should be anchored by Ayton, isn't providing the rim protection that would at least make them think twice about attacking the basket. We need a center who plays like his life depends on every possession, and right now, I don't see that. Stephen A. asked if LeBron thought the coaching was part of the problem, and LeBron's response was the most diplomatic thing he'd said all interview, which somehow made it even more devastating. JJ Redick is a great coach. He really is. He's been put in an impossible situation. He took over a team that was designed for Luka Doncic, lost Luka to injury, lost me for 14 games at the start of the season with sciatica, and has been trying to hold it together with tape and prayers. JJ tried different lineups in Game 3, he tried different coverages, he adjusted the rotation, he played a Dothiero, a young guy, for 13 minutes. He tried everything, and the Thunder still won by 23. At some point, it's not a coaching problem, it's a talent gap, and that talent gap exists because the Thunder have been building for 5 years while the Lakers have been trying to compete with a 41-year-old as their foundation. That's not sustainable. I know it. The front office knows it. Everyone knows it. The interview went to commercial, and I sat there in my living room feeling like I just witnessed something historic. Not exciting historic, sad historic. This felt like a funeral for an era, like the moment when Michael Jordan walked off the court in Washington for the last time, like the final buzzer of Kobe's 60-point game. It felt like the end. When they came back from break, LeBron's eyes were red. Whether from tears or exhaustion, I couldn't tell. But what he said next is going to be played on every highlight reel, every documentary, every retrospective of LeBron James's career for the rest of eternity. "I need to say something to Laker Nation," he said, looking directly into the camera. "I owe you an apology. Not for the effort, not for the heart this team has fought, but for the results. You paid for playoff tickets at Crypto.com Arena and watched us lose by 23 in our own building. You invested your emotions, your time, your money, your hope in this team, and we let you down. And as the leader of this franchise, that falls on me, not on Austin, not on Marcus, not on JJ, on ME. Because I chose to come back this season, I chose to believe that at 41 years old, I could still lead a championship team, and the hard truth is that I can't. Not like this, not without Luka, not with this roster, and I should have been honest about that earlier." His voice cracked. "I love this franchise more than my ego," LeBron said, and for the first time in 23 years of public life, LeBron James looked vulnerable, not angry, not defiant, not competitive, vulnerable, human. "I love the Lakers more than I love the idea of LeBron James playing forever. And if this franchise needs to rebuild, if they need a fresh start, if they need to trade assets and draft young players and build around Luka when he's healthy and Austin when he's 100%, and if I'm the obstacle to that, then maybe it's time for me to step aside." Stephen A. Smith's jaw was on the floor. The producers were frozen. Even the camera operator seemed to lose focus for a moment before adjusting. "I'm not saying I'm retiring," LeBron clarified quickly. "I'm saying that my time of holding this franchise hostage to my legacy needs to end if it's preventing the Lakers from doing what's best for the future. If the Lakers can get a first-round pick for me, if they can clear cap space, if my leaving makes this team better for 2027 and beyond, then I'll accept that, because being a Laker has always been about something bigger than any one player. And I refuse to be the reason this franchise stays stuck in mediocrity." Then came the final statement, the one that broke me. "Tonight is Game 4, and I know the world expects us to lose. The Thunder are 7-0 in these playoffs. They've beaten us by a combined 59 points in 3 games. No team has ever come back from 3-0 in an NBA playoff series more than 4 times in history. The odds are not in our favor, but I'm going to go out there tonight, and I'm going to give you everything I have left. Not for the series, not for the standings, not for legacy, for pride, for the purple and gold, for every kid in Los Angeles who put on a Lakers jersey today and believed that anything is possible. We might lose tonight. We probably will lose tonight, but we will not be embarrassed. We will not quit. We will not lay down. And when the final buzzer sounds, whether we're celebrating or shaking hands, every single person in that building will know that LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers went down fighting." He looked directly into the camera one last time. "Stephen A., you said this roster is a disgrace to the franchise's legacy. You might be right, but the franchise's legacy was built by men who fought until the very end. Jerry West fought, Kareem fought, Magic fought, Kobe fought, Shaq fought. And tonight, I'm going to fight, because that's what a Laker does. That's what a king does. Even when the castle is falling, even when the kingdom is crumbling, the king fights one more time." Let me break down what this means. First, LeBron essentially put himself on the trade block. He didn't use those words, but saying if the Lakers can get a first-round pick for me, and if my leaving makes this team better, is as close to requesting a trade as LeBron James has ever come. This is seismic for the NBA landscape. Where would LeBron go? Would he join a contender for one final run? Would he go back to Cleveland? Would he retire? The offseason is going to be dominated by this question. Second, the Ayton criticism, while measured, was devastating. LeBron essentially said Ayton doesn't play with enough desperation. When the greatest player in history publicly questions your intensity in a playoff series, your future with that franchise is in serious jeopardy. Don't be surprised if Ayton is traded this summer. Third, the admission that the roster was built for Luka and can't function without him is a direct critique of the front office's roster construction strategy. The Lakers went all in on the LeBron-Luka pairing without building adequate depth to survive if either star went down. That's a fundamental organizational failure, and LeBron just pointed it out on national television. Fourth, the emotional vulnerability was unprecedented. In 23 years of public life, LeBron James has never appeared this raw, this honest, this willing to accept criticism and responsibility. This interview wasn't just about basketball, it was about a 41-year-old man coming to terms with the reality that time, the one opponent he can't outwork and can't outplay, is finally winning, and the grace with which he handled that realization was, in its own way, the most impressive performance of his career.